All right, get hyped.
Okay, I'm hyped.
You're just gonna dive in. Just
I'm gonna
go.
dive
Just
in.
go for it.
I'm
Dive
gonna
in.
go for it. I'm
Dive
gonna
in.
dive in. Okay, yeah.
Dive right in. Now. Yeah.
Hello, adventurers. I'm Liz Christensen, your host for the Refuge Salt Lake City LARP Vodcast. This is a vodcast because you can see us. Hi. But today I'm joined by Katie Lewis-Kooring, who, did I even say your last name right? I don't think I've ever said your last name out loud before.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool. I just called you Katie or Maldeer or something else.
Right?
But Katie is the GM of our Refuge LARP Salt Lake City game, which is the general manager. Welcome, Katie.
Hi.
What is a general manager or game manager? I actually don't know if I know what GM specifically stands for.
It's general manager, and
Okay.
it's basically the GM is like the go-between between the owner and all of the staff positions, kind of the staff wrangler, if you will.
Like children or animals on film sets.
Yeah.
Sure. What are some of the things that you have to do?
It's just basically like a big portion of it is finding campsites, keeping everything organized that way, knowing what we need for NPC camp, knowing what the staff members need, knowing what each department needs, and kind of going between everybody and figuring out what everybody wants and how to help everybody.
This sounds like a scheduling, organizing, and communicating kind of job.
Yeah, pretty much.
For people who have never played with us or even played LARP before, why do we need campsites?
Because we need somewhere to play.
Why do we play at campsites?
So one of the things that I love the most about Refuge actually is the fact that we used most of our events are weekenders, which is like we stay overnight. You're immersed like in the game the entire weekend. It's awesome. I love that, and to do so we need somewhere to stay, and hence campsites.
Cool. Yeah. Do you want to can you tell us a little bit about some of our campsites that we might expect as soon as we're able to start playing after this COVIDness again?
So theoretically, our first event for the year is set for Camp Bonaventura, which is up in Ogden. And we've used that place a couple times before and really liked it. Instead of a cabin site, it's a tent camping site. So I think it'd be actually really good for our first event relating to COVID because people will be staying in their own family groups already. We won't have to deal with a lot of other things regarding that. So I'm actually looking forward to that, and I hope it happens. So
very cool. What are some of the challenges of managing our game?
I would say scheduling with everybody because so many people have so many different schedules.
How do you what are you taking into account when you're doing that?
Like how so?
Like it's like, say, are you talking about scheduling staff meetings? Are you talking about scheduling the campsites themselves?
More about getting all the staff together. It's like staff meetings, also like figuring out when people are available to do different things. It's sometimes difficult with everybody's different schedules, but usually comes together.
What are some of the meetings and activities or events or getting togethers that happen out of game between events?
One of the events that we love doing is crafting nights, where we have nights where people can donate and make stuff for the LARP, and like making packets for shooting each other with, and making costume pieces for the NPCs. And it's also a great opportunity for people to get together and just like exchange tips on their own stuff. That's something I love. We also do what have we done in the past? We also have tavern nights occasionally where we don't have like nobody has to be in full armor and nobody fights, but we get to interact in character and chat with each other, and those are fun nights too.
What are some of your favorite things about being the game manager? The general manager. I called you the game manager again.
I think either term works, but general manager is, I guess, what we're going with.
It sounds cool. It sounds way cool like that.
Makes me feel important, I guess. I don't. No, I think my favorite part is all the different people. Like the problems arise from scheduling and getting everybody together and doing everything. But I love everybody that we work with. I love everyone who's passionate about LARP, talking to people about it, and like in game, out of game, in a staff context, in a non-staff context. It's just all the people we have make it tons of fun.
Why do you LARP?
Because it's awesome.
Why is it awesome though?
I don't know. I guess the main reason I like it is because I'm a history buff, first of all, so I have a big thing for like stuff that's not in period. But I also it's great. You get to run around with your friends, have fun, get outside, be crazy. You get to be a different person if you want. Make a character that's completely the opposite of you, or make a character that's just like you. But you get the chance to do something that you want and experiment, and it's tons of fun.
Tell me a little bit about your favorite character, or a current character that
Of
you play. Yeah,
one of
because
my
you're gonna put on,
characters.
you're gonna be and do whatever you want. So what is it that you're wanting to do?
So I don't know. I guess my two main characters are Maldir and Samael, and both of them I incorporated like different aspects of my personality into. So like Maldir is like outgoing and loud, and Samael's the other side, which is like super quiet and kind of shy. I don't know. It just makes me like everybody has two sides to themselves. Everybody has like your shy side and then your outgoing side, and it's kind of fun to get to play with those.
When did you start LARPing?
So I LARPed forever ago when I was in high school, with the World of Darkness stuff, so like Vampire the Masquerade and all that. But it's a lot different than what we do. And I did that years ago, and then Paul got me back into like this type of LARPing about 8 years ago.
And you've been playing with this local LARP community that whole time then, for the past 8 years?
So we didn't have a local chapter until about 3 years ago. But the organization that we play with, we've been playing with them for 8 years. We used to drive up to the Seattle chapters games near Portland and play with them because there was no chapter here. Like we drive 12 hours to LARP for a weekend and then immediately drive 12 hours back.
Oh, that's so fun, but also I hate 12 hours in the car.
No, but it was totally worth it because we had so much fun at the games. Like it was totally worth it. But now we have our own chapters, so we don't have to drive that far.
Is that kind of the reason why this chapter got started?
Technically, no. It was actually started by someone else, like kind of at the same time that we were wanting to, and then things just kind of got to the perfect place where they happened. But if I think inevitably we would have if it hadn't happened.
I like that. Yeah, the idea that this was inevitable. What is your advice to a player character, a PC, who wants to get more enjoyment out of the game?
I would say just dive in. Like my very first game with Refuge and with this whole organization is when we went to it was my first game like 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, and I didn't know anybody but my best friend and my brother, and they knew what they were doing. I didn't. And so I walk up and I'm like in my costuming and got all my gear and I'm just like super shy. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know what I'm doing. And there was a huge field battle and I ended up and at that point, like really low level character, my packets only did like 3 damage. And it wasn't a huge amount of damage. And I felt but I was like, was afraid to contribute, afraid to fight. Then this huge field battle happens, middle of the night. I launch this packet at this dude running across the field. I hit him square in the back, like while he's running in the dark. And I was so proud of myself that I broke character and I turned to some complete stranger next to me and was like, "Yeah, did you see that?" And I was so proud of myself. And he was like, so not impressed with my 3 points of damage. But I was so proud. And it was like that moment, I was like, okay, all I have to do is just try and it becomes fun. Like I was so afraid at that point, like before then to like jump in. But after that, I was just like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. You got to just go for it.
Is that the same advice you'd give to a non-player character, an NPC, or is it slightly different when you're trying to be on like the production end, I guess I could say?
For an NPC, it's diving in is a good way to go, but with an NPC, I don't know, it's almost easier because you're anonymous. You're like, an anonymous NPC. So my advice to regular NPCs would be just go take out a couple dozen townsfolk and you'll get right into it.
Murder, as opposed to you want to get more enjoyment out of the game as an NPC. Yeah, just go try to kill people.
Like just dive into your battles, because with an NPC you're mostly anonymous. It's like you're a random goblin or an undead, and it's so much easier to lose yourself, I think, because you're not worrying about what other people think of your character. You're not worried about, like, how do I play this for like the future of my character. You're like, I'm undead and I'm gonna get you. Like, it's so much easier, I think, to get into it as an NPC. And I think that might be a reason that a lot of people NPC before they PC. It's because it gives you a chance to build up kind of that idea in your head of how to play and what you're doing and learning the calls a little bit. But I mean, it's fun either way from either side.
We've kind of talked most about how you interact with the staff as a general manager, and we talked a little bit about you as a player. Generally, a player character, what would they come to you for as a general manager? Should they be coming to you? Should they come talk to other people first on the staff? Like, what's the average player's experience with the general manager?
So I think most players go to the staff member that they need at the time. So if they need help from plot, they would go to a member of the plot team, or from help from the logistics team, which I also deal with. And I think it just depends. But I welcome anybody to talk to me. If you need help, it doesn't matter branch. I'll direct you to who you need, or I'll help you myself.
Cool. Thank you so much, Katie, for talking with me today.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun.
Everybody make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see our future podcast episodes. We have some cool stuff coming up and we don't want you to miss it. Have a lovely day.
Bye.